crisis. America has a problem. I knew that clip from the Beyonce long ass live stream that I did was going to cause a lot of conversation. Like, I knew it, but I also really believe what I'm saying, and I still really believe it. I also know how social media works and the internet works. I also know that different things get different kinds of reactions on different platforms. So because Instagram skews a little more toward people my age, right? That they were going to take it in a different way. And that Twitter, because Twitter is the site of the Stan Wars, that they were going to take it a different way. And because, TikTok is like kind of a mix of both, that they were going to do it differently. But, in seeing particularly on Twitter, like some of the ways that people were engaging with that video, it really made me concerned, because I also think that a lot of the like super hardcore Stan Wars are not, well, I know for sure because of things that I've been through, that all of the people who are responding viscerally, like in that way, are not 14-year-olds. A lot of those people are late teens, early 20s, mid 20s and up. And seeing people respond to the claim, this is anti-Black, with people can't have an opinion. Like, what do you mean people can't have an opinion? Makes me think, and seeing it so many times makes me think there's a cognition issue here. There is a synthesis issue here. It's not just that people are disagreeing with me, because I expect people to disagree with me. I stand on unpopular shit all the time. It's that their response to me making this argument is not even connected to the argument that I made. That concerns me, because it's like, are y'all okay? Is it an inability to wrestle with the argument? Are y'all not used to having to actually respond to arguments? Is it because the structure of the internet has not only disincentivized people from actually engaging with an actual argument, but has it deadened their ability, inhibited their ability to even see an argument, to see a thesis? So I've been thinking about like where cultural criticism and commentary and analysis, where that is going in an environment where some places you're able to have, thoughtful, critical conversations. I actually really value on Instagram in particular, even though it's like a visual app, people be writing essays and whatever in the comments. Like when people disagree with me on Instagram, they be like citing statistics and sources and saying, oh, people who even disagree with me about Renaissance being particularly creative will be like, no, Kim, like this is not what you're saying it is. If you really want to hear some good house music, listen to this, and this. Or, ooh, I liked this person's in-depth critique of it. But on Twitter, it's not that. It's, well, shut up and let her have her opinion. And on YouTube, that's a lot of those comments. And I'm like, oh, this is a crisis. Like, America has a problem. And I think it's the skimming culture. We have been, because of like the social media, the rhythms of social media are just so nonstop, right? And we're constantly taking in so much information that people are just used to skimming, that people are just used to reacting to their very first impulse on top line headline. It's like headline only culture. Also, like people are, not only are they not responding to an argument, they're responding viscerally negatively, aggressively negatively to things I did not say. And thankfully, I just think, oh, I'm so fortunate to be at this place in my career at this moment in time, because I can just like take a step back and see what's going on. Like I don't take any of this personally. It's a problem that people are increasingly showing to me as somebody who has a lot of unpopular opinions, that I do actually like to argue, but I like to argue seriously. I like to argue with serious people. It's a problem that people are not able to wrestle with things in the proper context. It's like everything is decontextualized intentionally. So this also connects to, I remember a couple months ago, this thing went viral about the new edition of The Witches by Roald Dahl was being published in the UK, that it was being altered because of offensive, language and words, Roald Dahl, brilliant author, bigot. You know what I mean? Right? Complicated figure because he also did some good things, but also anti Semitic, also misogynistic. And that shows up in quite a few of the tropes that appear over and over again in his books. Full disclosure, Roald Dahl was my favorite author when I was a kid. I just loved how vivid the imagery in all of those books were. But yeah, looking back, the bad guys with, hook noses and, fat, ugly women, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, offensive. But when I saw so many people defending the idea of just taking out all of that stuff, just changing it, it made me like concerned because for me, as a person who critically analyzes media for a living, that's a skill. And that's a skill that you learn, hopefully, in school. And hopefully, you start learning the ability to critically analyze media early. If we're complaining about media illiteracy, if we're complaining about freaking literalism, oh my god, the literalism that I encounter. I'm like, y'all don't know what a simile is? Y'all don't know what an analogy? If we're complaining about the declining ability for people to wrestle with, comprehend, take in complex ideas, the solution to that is not to remove every idea or thought or image that creates discomfort. No, 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 no. What you actually have to do, and something that I've loved to do since I was little, was you take in the thing and then you go back and you go, oh, what was that? What does that mean? You have to, in order to be a good, savvy consumer of media, of culture, of news, be able to properly contextualize the social world. And that does not just happen overnight. You got to practice it. And so you properly contextualize the world that Roald Dahl was living in, where he was putting all this racist tropes, in especially in like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the anti-Semitic tropes and the witches and the misogyny and Matilda. You have to have somebody who knows their shit sitting down with kids or anybody who is, reading and say, okay, Roald Dahl, born in, I don't know, the late 1800s, early 1900s. This was the social world that he lived in. This is the history, what that reference means. Here's why we don't say that anymore. Here's why that's harmful. Here is, the link to this trope and the link to that trope so you can spot them. I understand that eliminating all of the quote unquote offensive stuff does make those books more broadly appealing and it, increases the potential to sell books or whatever. But what are we losing in a world where we just erase all the offensive stuff so we can make more money? Erase any argument that causes confusion or discomfort. I am not, these kids are snowflakes person, because these kids got to deal with shit. I ain't have to. But I am this skill that was important in my time is still important person. And we are losing that skill. And by the way, I'm also somebody who has always believed that we also shouldn't erase or censor the N-word in historical text. I don't know if everybody need to be saying the N-word all willy-nilly in class, but it doesn't make sense to pretend like it didn't exist in the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, because that was the social world of that time. I'm concerned that we are creating people who have no skills to not be myopic in their lens of interpretation.